India, out of that around 50% are sputum positive, and these are the patients who are responsible for spread of tuberculosis. That is why we are here to control tuberculosis, to diagnose it as early as possible, to treat them with adequate treatment so that the transmission of tuberculosis can go down. There are around 5,000 deaths of tuberculosis every day in India. That means every 2 minutes there are 3 patients dying of tuberculosis. So I will talk about the recent advances in terms of treatment, that is treatment of drug-resistant tuberculosis. As we all know, today we have MDR-TBs, that is multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, as well as XDR-TB, that are really difficult to treat. What are the new drugs or regimens available or are coming in near future? What are the new drugs and regimens for drug susceptible tuberculosis? What are the rapid diagnostic tests for tuberculosis, especially multi-drug resistant tuberculosis? We are aware of that TB bacilli takes a lot of time to grow. It takes 2 months to grow on Algae media, which was the previous culture media available. But today we have new modalities by which you can diagnose tuberculosis within 2 hours also. So we will talk about that also. And is there any prevention, that is the vaccine other than BCG? We all know that BCG does not protect in 100% of the people, and it has protection only for a younger population only. So the road to TB elimination is stop transmission. So if we are able to stop transmission, then only we will be able to think about elimination of tuberculosis. For that we need earlier point of care diagnosis and safe and effective vaccine. Neutralize latent infection by vaccine or by some drug regimen. Treatment of active tuberculosis, we have now a good anti-tubercular drugs, but as we know, these drugs are also becoming, the bugs are becoming resistant to these drugs. So we need more effective drug. We need rapid drug sensitivity test for all drugs. Today, it is very difficult to get drug sensitivity test for tubercular bacilli because of cost reason. We know that under WHO there is a RNTCP program, there is a DOTS program, and now at least we have a drug sensitivity test available in medical colleges, rapid test like line probe assay which can diagnose MDR-TB as early as possible, and shorter, simpler drug regimen. So first we will talk about advancements in drug treatment of tuberculosis. Recently, there are 2 new drugs which are approved by US FDA. These are bedaquiline and delamanid. These are drugs approved for treatment of MDR tuberculosis. We all know that we have limited number of drugs available to treat multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. Bedaquiline is the first new anti-TB drug developed in over 40 years, and it is available as 100 mg tablet, marketed under the brand name of Sertolio. It was approved by US FDA in December 2012 for the treatment of MDR tuberculosis only. How it acts? It decreases energy production in Mycobacterium tuberculosis by inhibiting ATP synthesis 3. It inhibits growth of actively replicating as well as non-replicating, the bacteria which are lying dormant in drug sensitive as well as drug resistant tuberculosis. There are no significant drug interaction with other drugs, and there is no cross resistance with the available anti-TB drugs. What they have seen in phase 3-4 trial, that we have to watch for QT interval prolongation and we have to monitor the liver function. That we already do for other TB drugs also, like rifamycin, isoniazid or pyrazinamide. The dosage regimen is 400 mg daily for first 2 weeks, followed by 200 mg 3 times a day for 22 weeks, and duration of treatment is 6 months. The second drug is delamanid, which is nitroimidazole derivative. How it acts? It acts by inhibiting mycolic acid synthesis in bacterial cell wall. It was approved by European Union in November 2013 for treatment of MDR-TB in adults. It still is going phase 3 clinical trials in US, so it is not US FDA approved till now, and recommended dose is 100 mg twice a day for 6 months. There are other drugs also which are in advanced stage of development in trials. These are sutazolid, which is congener of like linezolid, SQ109 PA824. So sutazolide is a linezolid analog. It is currently undergoing phase 2 clinical trials and it acts by inhibiting bacterial protein synthesis. What is the difference between linezolid and sutazolid? It has a better antimicrobial activity than linezolid, both in vitro and in mouse model of TB. Better time-dependent killing of bacteria and improved safety profile compared to linezolid. We all know that in MDR-TB or XDR-TB when these drugs are not acting, we are using linezolid at present. Sutazolid has an early bactericidal activity as compared to linezolid, which is bacteriostatic. Addition to standard TB regimen significantly improves efficacy and it has potential to shorten treatment duration. We all know that treatment of MDR tuberculosis at present is 18 to 24 months after culture activity. So it needs maybe 2.5 to 3 years of treatment, and if this drug comes in the market, probably the duration of treatment may go down. The advantage is it does not interact with cytochrome P450 enzyme. We all know that rifampicin is a inducer of cytochrome P450 and this drug does not do anything wrong with that. So we are not worried about drug interactions as well as decreased bioavailability or decreased metabolism of other drugs. Not likely to interact with most antiretroviral drugs and it may be a good option for HIV patients co-infected with tuberculosis. The other drug is SQ109, which is analog of ethambutol. Again, it is under trials. It is active against drug susceptible as well as multi-drug resistant TB, early bactericidal action and synergistic action with isoniazid and rifampicin, and it has low bacterial mutation rate. PA824 is bicyclic nitroimidazole derivative developed by TB Alliance Group. It is active against drug susceptible as well as drug resistant TB, currently undergoing phase 2B and 3 trials in US. It acts by inhibiting cell wall inhibition and acts as a nitric oxide donor, active against both active as well as dormant TB. Synergistic action with moxifloxacin and pyrazinamide, and there is a potential to shorten the treatment. Currently, they are undergoing trials by which they are able to decrease the duration of MDR-TB to less than 1 year also. Now talking about a bioenhancer. Bioenhancers are the compounds which can enhance the bioavailability of the drug. One of that is piperine, which is a compound derived from piperine nigrum or piperine long, which we already know it's a kali mirch in normal language. So it is an Indian innovation in drug treatment of TB. The name is Risore. Basically, it is a combination of rifampicin, which is at a reduced dose as compared to the normal dose which we use, that is rifampicin 450 mg in normal patients. So it has a 200 mg of rifampicin along with 10 mg of piperine and 300 mg of isoniazid. We'll see whether there is any role of Risore in our Indian population. It's the outcome of joint research by CSIR Jammu and Cadila Pharmaceuticals. It was approved by DCGI in 2009 for treatment of drug-sensitive tuberculosis, not for MDR-TB. So we all faces challenges when we are using anti-tubercular drugs. As it was rightly said by Dr. Gaurav, they develop GI intolerance, they develop hepatotoxicity, and we know out of 4 primary drugs, the 3 are hepatotoxic, rifampicin, isoniazid and pyrazinamide. So it becomes very difficult to use these drugs in all patients, especially As he said, there are a lot of alcoholics. We have hepatitis C problem. We have a lot of patients with chronic liver disease. So it is very difficult to give the normal ATT regime to these patients. They can develop hepatic failure. So if we are able to use a low dose of rifampicin and cure them, it will be a wonderful. We also know that in many patients there may be subtherapeutic serum level of rifampicin because of induction of cytochrome P450 by rifampicin itself. So it metabolizes rifampicin and the dose and the level in the blood may be subtherapeutic. And we also know there are multiple adverse drug-drug interactions. So let us compare rifampicin with the Ristorine. If we see the serum rifampicin level, it is seen in trials that the level of rifampicin is high and sustained in Ristorine as compared to rifampicin. The clinical efficacy is similar of both 450 mg rifampicin compared to 200 mg of rifampicin in Ristorine. The GI tolerance gets improved, there is lesser risk of hepatitis and the treatment adherence rate is high because the side effects are less. So the benefits are lower incidence of GI adverse effects, minimized risk of drug-induced hepatitis, better tolerability and improved patient compliance. So benefits of improved adherence to treatment is that is the patient are able to complete the course. They are able to cure themselves by taking the lesser dose of rifampicin. There is reduced relapse rates, minimized risk of developing of drug resistance. So if we see the pharmacokinetics of conventional rifampicin versus rifampicin plus piperine, it is seen that the plasma concentration of rifampicin with piperine is more as compared to plain rifampicin. So in the trial it has been seen that rifampicin levels they decrease with time with conventional rifampicin 450 mg. Over 14 days period there is an initial rise in rifampicin level and then it goes down on day 14. But if we combine rifampicin 200 mg with piperine 10 mg, it produces similar plasma level on day 14 versus day 1. That means the level of rifampicin does not go down when we use piperine along with rifampicin. So in a multi-center randomized control trial, it has been seen that the sputum conversion rate at 1 month was 92% with rifampicin along with piperine as compared to 85% with rifampicin alone. Also the cure rate at 6 months was 92% with piperine as compared to 81% with rifampicin alone. So is there any role of Ristorine in Indian context? We all know that broadly we have to stick to the RNTCP, that is dose therapy. That means for a broader population of people who are uneducated, people who are not financially good, they have to get treatment under directly observed treatment. But we also know that we are coming across with patients who have liver problem, who have GI intolerance, who are not able to take anti-tubercular drug treatment. So for these populations, definitely this may be a beneficial thing. So useful option in patients at high risk of developing drug-induced hepatitis, a patient who is not able to tolerate rifampicin, if we are able to give a lower dose and cure them, it will be good for them. So in future, we may be having a new anti-TB regimen and we can decrease the duration, which was earlier 12 months to 9 months to 6 months now. It may come down to 4 months.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's not a very long lecture. I think it will take another 5 to 10 minutes to finish. I think we're discussing a very new topic and a new innovation in the treatment of tuberculosis. And please request all those people to please remain silent for a few minutes. Thank you. Repeat recording.
Thank you so much. So new anti-tubercular drugs, the evaluation of new drug regimens along with moxifloxacin and new drugs, add new drugs to standard regimen, study combination of new drugs. There are ongoing trials with moxifloxacin. We all know moxifloxacin we use it as a second line drug for MDR tuberculosis. But there are ongoing trials in US and Europe so that the treatment of primary tuberculosis can go down from 6 months to maybe 3 or 4 months. They are using it as an alternative to isoniazid and ethambutol in the treatment of drug-sensitive TB. We are talking about not in India or Southeast Asia, because if we are using moxifloxacin as a first-line treatment, probably we will be giving more harm to the patient. I am just talking about the recent advances which are happening in developed countries. Moxifloxacin containing regimens to shorten duration of treatment. There is a Remox TB trial which is going on. It has 3 arms, that is HRZM, that is isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazinamide, moxifloxacin, versus MRZD and HRZD. There are 47 sites in 9 countries including India. There are around 2000 participants and study duration was of around 6 years. But Remox TB trial has shown that if you replace ethambutol or pyrazinamide or isoniazid with moxifloxacin, the duration of treatment can come down from 6 months to 4 months. We all know if we are able to cure the patient in a shorter time, it will be beneficial. As already discussed in the previous lecture about compliance, we all know it is very difficult to continue treatment in a large number of patients. So if we are able to decrease the duration, it will be good. There are ongoing trials in drug-sensitive TB in the name of Remox TB, NIRT Delhi and A5307. These are to decrease the duration of treatment. Further, there are few trials which are happening to treat MDR TB. These are by the name of NC001 with bedaquiline, moxifloxacin, PA824, PZ8. Similarly, NC002, NC003. These are with neo drugs. As we have mentioned in previous slides, these drugs can decrease the duration of treatment from 2 to 3 years to maybe less than 1 year. STAND is a global phase 3 trial by the name of shortening treatment by advancing novel drugs. Again, this trial will test PA-MZ regimens, PA824 plus moxi plus pyrazinamide. It's a first trial to test a common regimen in drug-sensitive as well as drug-resistant tuberculosis. Next study is phase 3 study. Again, 24 months conventional regimen, that is moxi, pyrazinamide, kanamycin, ethonamide, talizidone versus 6 month investigation regimen, levo plus linezolid plus pyrazinamide, ethonamide plus high dose isoniazid and bedaquiline. Next is again a phase 3 trial for XDR tuberculosis. So there are trials happening for drug sensitive tuberculosis, MDR TB and XDR TB with the neo drug. Again, there is a potential to shorten treatment duration to 6 months. So this is regarding the availability of treatment in tuberculosis, sensitive MDR and XDR. Now let us discuss little bit about advancement in TB diagnostics. We all know it is very difficult to diagnose multi-drug resistant TB. You send the sputum culture and it takes more than 1 month to get back the culture report, and then you ask for drug sensitivity test, maybe for 4 drugs, 5 drugs or maybe 10 drugs. So there is a huge cost involved in that. So you think many times whether I will ask for 5 drug sensitivity or 10 drug sensitivity to a naive patient. As we all know, the primary MDR TB is going up, XDR primary TB is going up. So we really don't know the patient which we are seeing is having MDR tuberculosis or XDR TB or not. So we all know that Mycobacterium tuberculosis replicates in the human host and you can detect the TB bacilli. Maybe by antigen detection test, maybe by microscopy, which is the standard thing under RDCP DOTS program, or culture based. We all know, we have read in microbiology, LJ culture media, solid culture media, but that takes at least 2 months. Now we have Vectec culture media, liquid growth culture media, which takes maybe 10 to 14 days. We have a nucleic acid amplification technology, PCR, Gene Expert, which are very fast. You can get the reports within 1 or 2 days. And you can also diagnose the tuberculosis by detection of the byproducts of TB bacilli like a volatile organic compounds. These are still under research. Then you have the test to diagnose tuberculosis based upon what TB bacilli do to our immune system. Like a cellular immune response, we all know TB quantiferon, that is the interferon which are released by our cellular immune mechanism. You detect that and you say that patient may be having TB. It may be latent or it may be active. You cannot distinguish between the both. But we all know that TB quantiferon has some benefit when we are stuck up, when we don't know really if the patient is not improving, we are not able to diagnose the proper disease, then TB quantiferon may be beneficial in a selected group of patients. Regarding activation of humoral immune response, that is antigen, we all know the detection of IgM, that is recent infection or IgG. It was going on like anything all over world, but we know today that this is banned by WHO. It is wrong to do serology test for tuberculosis bacilli in a country like India, where the prevalence of tuberculosis infection is around 70%. A little bit about nucleic acid amplification technique tests which are available today, and these are INO lipase rifampicin TB assay, MTB-DR+, MTB-DRSL, gene expert MTB test. I will just touch little bit about these things. These are very beneficial in our day-to-day practice. WHO endorsed tests are a liquid culture, that is like a bacterial culture or MGIT culture. Then there are automated detection and MDR screening, very important in these days when you don't know your patient is having MDR TB or XDR TB. These are gene expert device method, again it is by nucleic acid amplification. Then there is molecular line probe assay. The advantage of these nucleic acid amplification tests are they will give you the resistance of the two main drugs at least, that is rifampicin and isoniazid. And by definition we know that if the bacilli is resistant to first two drugs, that is rifampicin and isoniazid, we call it MDR TB. And it is very difficult to treat MDR TB. A person who is not having expertise in treating MDR TB, better to send these patients to RNDCP program or to a qualified TB specialist who is dealing with MDR TB, so that these patients should get cured. A gene expert MTB rifampicin assay is a rapid fully automated nucleic acid amplification test. It provides simultaneous diagnosis of TB with genotypic rifampicin resistance. We know that there are mutations in the bacteria which are responsible for drug resistance. So with the nucleic probe assay, you are able to diagnose those mutant genes and you label them as a resistant TB. It has 81% sensitivity for extrapulmonary tuberculosis also, and it is 99 to 100% positive in smear positive patients and around 80% in smear negative pulmonary tuberculosis. The results are available within 2 hours, and it is particularly useful in TB patients with HIV co-infection and when you suspect MDR tuberculosis. I will just go a little bit by MTB-DR plus and MTB-DR-SL. The SL means you can do diagnosis of second line aid drugs also, like quinolones or ethambutol, and injectable drugs like amikacin and kanamycin. The advantage of MDR plus are its simultaneous detection of MTB complex as well as resistance to rifampicin and isoniazid. And if you are able to start treatment of MDR TB early, the cure rate will definitely go high. Also, the patient will not be able to, the transmission of TB, especially MDR TB, may go down. I already touched about interferon gamma, that is TB quantiferon test. IGFR is secreted by T cells, and when you measure it, that means your T cells response is already there. That means the patient has got infection. It may be latent or it may be active. As I mentioned, serological tests, there are around 1.5 million tests available as serology tests by different companies, and it is very bad to do these tests. We all of us have come across reports of IgM, IgG. These were done like anything in the previous past, but thanks to WHO and Government of India, it is banned now, and it is not available now. The newer methods are breath analyzer screening test. That is, you just analyze the breath for a volatile organic compounds secreted by the bacilli, and you can screen patients who are under high risk. Regarding prevention of tuberculosis, there are a few vaccines which are in pipeline, but still these are not under trials. So in summary, despite all the advances, tuberculosis still remains a major challenge. Rapid diagnosis of tuberculosis is possible, that is by gene expert, MTBDR+, and there are tests available to diagnose XDR-TB also. There are newer drugs have potential to improve outcome in MDR-TB. For treatment of drug-sensitive TB, minimum 6 months treatment is gold standard as of now in India. Risorin offers an equally effective but better tolerated option to conventional rifampicin, as we have discussed, especially in patients who are not able to take the rifampicin because of GI intolerance, because of hepatotoxicity and other drug-drug interactions. So I thank you all of you for patience listening.